Welcome back, future smile architects. In our last video, we explored the fundamental physics that makes teeth move. But what about the tools that apply these forces? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of orthodontic materials, the wires, brackets, and elastics that are the unsung heroes of every successful treatment. Understanding their unique physical properties isn't just academic. It's essential for designing effective, comfortable, and durable orthodontic appliances. We'll uncover how materials respond to stress, what makes a wire springy or stiff, and why choosing the right material is crucial for different stages of orthodontic treatment. Get ready to explore the microscopic world that creates macroscopic changes in a patient's smile. At its core, orthodontics is about applying forces to biological tissues using various materials. To truly understand how these forces work, we need to look at the fundamental properties of the materials themselves. Materials are made of molecules and atoms, and the way these tiny particles interact defines everything from a material's hardness to its flexibility. When a force is applied to a material, it experiences stress. Think of stress as the internal resistance of the material to the external force. This force causes the distance between the atoms to change, leading to strain, which is the deformation or change in size of the material. It's like stretching a rubber band. The pulling force is the stress, and the lengthening of the rubber band is the strain. There are different types of stress. When a material is pulled, the atoms move further apart, and the material expands. This is called tension. Conversely, when a material is pushed, the atoms are forced closer together, and the material shrinks. This is known as compression. And when two equal and opposite forces are applied from different planes, causing a twisting or sliding motion, that's shear. All these forms of stress cause deformation or strain in the material. A critical concept in orthodontics is elasticity. An elastic material is one that can absorb energy when stressed and then completely return to its original size and shape once the stress is removed. Think of a coil spring. You stretch it, and it springs back. That's elasticity in action. These materials are vital because they are the primary source of continuous, light forces needed for optimal tooth movement. On the other hand, plastic materials are those that, once deformed, cannot fully return to their original shape. If you bend a paperclip too far, it stays bent. That's plastic deformation. In orthodontics, we generally want to avoid plastic deformation in our active force-delivering components, as it means the appliance is no longer delivering the intended force. This behavior is beautifully illustrated by a stress-strain curve. As stress is applied, the material strains. Initially, there's a linear portion where stress and strain are proportional. This is where Hooke's law applies. The strain is proportional to the stress applied on the material up to the elastic limit. The slope of this linear portion gives us the modulus of elasticity, also known as Young's modulus, which tells us how stiff or springy a material is. A steeper slope means a stiffer material, requiring more force to bend it. Once the stress exceeds the elastic limit, the material enters the plastic deformation zone. This means it will not fully return to its original shape. If even more stress is applied, it reaches the ultimate strength limit, beyond which the material begins to break down, eventually reaching the failure point where it snaps. Understanding this curve is vital for orthodontists. They need to select wires that operate within their elastic limits to deliver consistent, gentle forces. Wires that reach their elastic limit too quickly or have a low ultimate strength are not ideal for continuous tooth movement. Beyond just elasticity, three key properties define how well an orthodontic wire performs. Stiffness, load/deflection rate. This is a material's resistance to bending or tension. Wires with low stiffness are highly elastic and bend easily, returning to their original position with minimal force. Superelastic nickel titanium, NiTi, wires are prime examples. Conversely, high-stiffness wires, like stainless steel, SS, require significant force to bend. Stiffness is affected by three main factors: size, length, and material. Size. For round wires, doubling the wire size increases the force applied by 16 times. This means even small changes in wire diameter have a huge impact on force delivery. Length. The force applied by a wire is inversely proportional to the cube of its length. So, if you double the length of a wire, the force it delivers is reduced by 8 times. This is why loops are often incorporated into wires to effectively increase their length and thus their elasticity, allowing for longer range, physiologic forces. Material. Different alloys have inherently different stiffnesses. Stainless steel is generally the stiffest, followed by beta titanium, TMA, and then NiTi, which is the most flexible. Strength. This refers to the maximum force a wire can sustain before it permanently deforms or breaks. On the stress-strain diagram, it's the highest point on the curve before failure. A strong wire can store more force. Working range. This is the maximum elasticity of a wire before permanent deformation occurs. It represents how far a wire can be activated while still returning to its original shape. Wires with a high working range can deliver forces for longer periods with a single activation, making them very efficient. Superelastic NiTi and TMA wires excel in this regard, while stiffer wires like SS have a lower working range. These 3 properties, stiffness, strength, and working range, are interconnected and are carefully considered by orthodontists when selecting the appropriate wire for each stage of treatment. For instance, highly elastic, low-stiffness wires are preferred in the initial leveling phase, while stiffer wires are used for final detailing and torque control. Even the most perfectly designed orthodontic materials face challenges within the harsh environment of the oral cavity. 2 significant factors that can compromise their performance are fatigue and corrosion. Fatigue refers to the weakening or reduction of elasticity in materials due to repeated stress. Think of bending a paperclip back and forth until it breaks. That's fatigue in action. In orthodontics, wires are constantly subjected to chewing forces and occlusal contacts. Over time, these repeated stresses can lead to microscopic cracks, especially at points where the wire has been bent sharply or crushed by pliers. Clinically, fatigue often manifests as wire failure, particularly in wires with long interbracket distances. To prevent this, orthodontists must be meticulous in their wire bending techniques, avoiding sharp bends and using appropriate tools to maintain the wire's structural integrity. The oral environment is a complex mix of ions, carbohydrates, proteins, and varying pH levels, making it a challenging place for metallic materials. Corrosion is the change in mechanical properties and the loss of weight of a metal due to the effects of various chemical agents. There are several types of corrosion that can affect orthodontic appliances. Uniform corrosion, where the metal surface is uniformly exposed and degrades. This is rare in orthodontics as appliances are not typically exposed to uniformly corrosive agents. Pitting corrosion, the most common type, characterized by localized pits or holes. It often occurs on surfaces that are not well polished or have welded/soldered joints. Chloride ions from salt are a major culprit. Crevicular corrosion occurs in narrow spaces or crevices, especially where the appliance is in contact with other materials like adhesives or acrylics. Stainless steel is particularly sensitive to this. Intergranular corrosion, a more insidious type where the metal's mechanical properties are lost without visible changes to its appearance or weight. It starts from within the metal, often due to heating processes during manufacturing that alter the metal's internal structure. Microbiologic corrosion, caused by microorganisms that produce sticky, humid matter, affecting the metal. Certain bacteria can even consume iron in stainless steel. Electrochemical corrosion. Fretting corrosion occurs due to constant friction between the wire and the bracket slot, leading to localized wear and material loss. This can be exacerbated by the presence of saliva acting as an electrolyte. Corrosion is a significant concern because it can lead to appliance failure, release of heavy metal ions like nickel, cobalt, and chromium into the oral environment, and even allergic reactions in sensitive patients. This is why materials like titanium, known for their excellent biocompatibility and corrosion resistance, are increasingly used in orthodontics. And there you have it, a deep dive into the physical principles that underpin every successful orthodontic treatment. From Newton's fundamental laws to the intricate dance of forces and moments, understanding biomechanics is what transforms orthodontics from an art into a precise science. As future orthodontists, or simply as curious minds, Grasping these concepts will empower you to not only understand how teeth move, but why they move the way they do, and how to precisely control that movement for optimal patient outcomes. It's about more than just straightening teeth. It's about engineering a healthy, functional, and beautiful smile. I hope this video has demystified some of the complex physics behind orthodontics. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your classmates, and don't forget to subscribe for more content that makes complex dental topics simple and engaging. What other orthodontic topics would you like us to break down? Let us know in the comments below.